So welcome to this very timely and relevant session of positivity, hope, and activism. Something that's much needed right now in a very dark world of misinformation, the rise of climate denial, right-wing politics, and it's only February 2025. Today we're going to talk about positivity and hope and activism, and I've got three very special visionaries, and I call them visionaries because they have a creative genius and a cultural intelligence which they've used to create work on their activism, storytelling around sustainability, and the issues related to climate change. I'm going to briefly introduce you to each of our panelists, and then I'm going to ask them to present their own work, so we get a real sense of who they are and their purpose and passion. Then we're going to have a general discussion, and then I'm going to open it up for the last 10 minutes for Q&A. So I hope that sounds good. Right, so welcome to my panel, and I'm going to first introduce Madam Gandhi, an award-winning international artist and activist known for her percussive electronic music for gender liberation and personal power. Listed in Forbes 30 Under 30 for Music, BBC 100 Women, and TED Fellow. Madam Gandhi began producing music in 2015, and I'm not sure whether I actually remember this story, after her running the London Marathon, free bleeding to combat menstrual stigma, which went viral around the world. In 2022, she traveled to Antarctica to record the sounds of the glaciers melting, to create awareness and empathy around climate change. These sounds are now featured in her latest song, In Purpose, available on all streaming platforms, where for the first time ever, nature is credited as an artist to receive a portion of all the streaming royalties. Yeah, a whoop there. And it's part of EarthSense's Sound Right initiative. And in June 2023, Madam Gandhi was awarded the Songwriters Hall of Fame Abe Allman Prize for Excellence in Songwriting and Leadership. She also won the Jury Award at South X for Southwest for her music video, Waiting for Me. We're also joined by Roshan, who has an agency, Swordfish, known for its innovative approach and cutting-edge tech solutions. And I started off by saying we have three visionaries, and Roshan is a visionary because he's behind India's greenest music festival called Echoes of Earth, which redefined cultural experiences by embracing sustainability and conservation. Wow. The pioneering spirit of this festival has been heralded nationally and internationally, setting a new standard for the industry. Rohan's imagination and creative approach have not only reshaped the public perception of brands or products, but also transformed consumer experiences into unforgettable memories. It's very poetic. And then we're also joined by Tongai Makawa from Harare. He's a creative community activist and organizer, as well as being an MC, artist, and spoken word workshop facilitator. Tongai is co-founder and operations director at Magamba Network, one of Africa's leading creative and digital media organizations, working on the cutting edge of arts, digital media, activism, and civic tech. Better known under his stage name of Outspoken, he has participated in numerous poetry festivals in Zimbabwe and has traveled and toured Southern Africa, the United States, Denmark, Germany, Norway, the UK, and many, many other nations. And his art form has been studied in Canada, the US, and Germany. So welcome all three of you. And now I'm going to invite Madam Gandhi, first of all, to present your work using however you want to, so we can just get a sense of who you are and what you do.
Brilliant, thank you. Shall we travel to Antarctica for a moment? A brief moment together. Will you come with me? Shall we go? Yes. Let's go.
Just arrived to Antarctica. It's like completely fresh and like divinely blue.
My name is Kiran Gandhi. I perform as Madam Gandhi. I am a drummer, a musician, a producer, a speaker. I had the opportunity to go out to Antarctica with an incredible group of musicians, activists, creators, entrepreneurs, tech leaders, and really record the sound of climate action, the sound of climate change, the sound of glaciers melting. And really the idea coming back with all of these nature sounds is, as a musician, can I use my gift, my talent, my passion to create empathy and awareness around climate change? And can it inspire climate action? And the more we fall in love with our planet, the more it is that we feel motivated to do something. And so,
thank you. How are y'all doing? Hello, hello. My name is Kiran Gandhi. I grew up in New York City drumming. I was always a drummer. I loved the Spice Girls. I loved pop culture. But most importantly, I understood from a young age the rich power of storytelling that music offers. Music would always soften me. It would open me to receive messages. It would change my mind. It would expose me to different perspectives. The flip side of music is that so much of what's on the airwaves is filled with so much garbage. There's so much misogyny in the lyrics that are there on the airwaves today that so many of us we're receiving it and we have no choice really. Sometimes I'm in the gym or I'm out in the world and I love the production of what's happening in the music industry. I love listening to the beats, but then I take a moment and I'm like, I don't want to have to turn up to the sound of my own oppression, okay? I'm just here trying to get a workout in the gym and all of these lyrics are a lot. So my journey has always been in looking at music as an opportunity for activism. Can you use music to soften people and change people's minds? Can you open a perspective? Can you tell a story? And when the pandemic hit, I really expanded my work, not only looking at gender, but really blowing my whole world open to the planet and to climate. I always think about how the same way that we think about women and we think about the feminine in our society is the same way that we treat the planet. There is opportunities for love and oneness. There's also opportunities for exploitation. And so the last 5 years, I really opened up my mind as an artist and also my mind as a New Yorker, where I would grow up ordering food and I had no awareness. It was so important for me to spend time in nature. It was so important for me to travel to different parts of the world and really immerse myself. And so I've always seen music as an opportunity for change, as an opportunity for storytelling. And the past 5 years of my work has been, how do we take the sounds of nature, the most beautiful and tragic sounds, the sounds of the planet melting, this gorgeous, rich sound, but also deeply sad. How do we use it as an opportunity to create empathy and awareness around climate action? And so it's interesting because if we go and connect with nature, many of us will have transformational experiences, but not all of us are in nature. And so that's really where the Sounds Right Initiative and Earth% play this super interesting role in using music that people would already be streaming on Spotify to actually remind us and come back into nature. And so this is where I am now. We have lots of music coming out that 100% of the electronics are organically sourced from nature sounds, either in their original form or repurposed into being a penguin synthesizer or a glacial synth, or as a drummer, creating pebbles and mushroom sounds that sound like beats that you might enjoy in an electronic music concert. I'll be performing one of those songs today. And sort of this is sort of where I am in this journey. As a musician, I am a climate warrior, I am a convert, and I'm so grateful to hold space with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Roshan.
I come from the south of India, a city called Bangalore. Just 2 decades ago, the city was called the Garden City of India. And today, we are probably one of the most congested cities of our country. India is currently in this huge boom, economic boom. And what's happening with that boom is our cities are getting crowded, our biodiversity is getting jammed, our air is getting polluted. conservation is the need of the hour right now. That having said, 2016, we started with a very audacious idea of creating the country's greenest music festival. The festival is designed to promote sustainability and conservation with wildlife together. Guys. Yes. Okay, great. So fast forward today, what the festival has been able to do is been able to use the waste which our country generates into resourceful things like our stages. So each of these stages have a stories to tell. For example, this particular stage is a bird called the Amur falcon. A tribe in east of India used to hunt them down, and the same tribe today is protecting them. So what we do, we use this concert, the entire festival, as a platform for positive messaging. And the positive messaging then goes beyond these conservation stories. Today we have around 25,000 people who attend this festival in Bangalore, and then we do a second version in Goa, which again has another 25,000 people who come and attend. So what's happened over a period of time, fast forward to now, we realized the community in large really loved what we were doing, and they wanted us to do more. So what we decided to do is now we have an IP within an IP, which is a 365 days, which is running, where we do panel discussions, where we do community outreach programs. This festival is designed in such a way that from a toddler to a 60-year-old person can come and enjoy the festival. It's a family-friendly festival, and it goes beyond sustainability and conservation. What we've been able to also do with this festival is been able to take it out to the underprivileged schools, government schools, and so on and so forth. So overall, I think we've been able to use music as a platform for a larger conversation, and that was the whole intent of this festival. And yeah, this is where we are.
Thank you. And Tongai.
Yes. Yeah, if we could play the clip.
At Total Energies, we are proud to be sponsoring the Africa Cup of Nations. In the words of our white male European CEO,
we are proudly African. At Total, we love football almost as much as we love oil and money.
And we love AFCON because it is one of the most watched football tournaments in the whole world.
So that means more money. Eyeballs for us.
The beautiful game is a great opportunity to show how much we care about Africa.
Its coastlines, vast forests, and savannas.
Which sneakily might be hiding some oil we can suck back to Europe.
I mean, if it wasn't for the oil fields we plunder across your splendid continent, we wouldn't have made $6 million every 90 minutes.
Yes! While you Africans have been going through a cost of living crisis, we have just recorded our most profitable year yet.
Ka-ching!
It's a goal!
What's not to like?
So what if our industry produces enough oil to fill a stadium every 3 hours and 37 minutes?
Let's focus on the tournament where the venues are overflowing, black and shimmering.
He means the oil.
Sponsoring the tournament is all part of our corporate social responsibility.
Greenwashing!
We spend a tiny percentage of our budget sponsoring AFCON to keep you Africans happy.
Whilst we blow the big bucks on planning massive carbon bombs that will blow up our continent.
Yes, the science says we need to stop all new drilling.
But our shareholders say, F that. Call it that.
Which is why we're the company with the most new oil and gas explorations on the whole African continent. You think you've seen drought, famine, and forced migration?
You ain't seen nothing yet. We're committed to turbocharging the climate crisis. We believe in building a sustainable Africa.
By building pipelines that displace indigenous people,
Destroy national parks,
and lock you into a generation of oil reliance.
hello Uganda and Tanzania!
At Total, we believe in creating employment across the continent.
Although it pays like shit.
We may even stir up the odd conflict.
Hello Mozambique! We value our African sea life and oceans.
As long as it doesn't get in the way of our drilling.
Hello South Africa and Nigeria!
We pride ourselves on being green and clean.
How come?
Because we say so.
Just look at our adverts with solar panels
And windmills.
and nice renewable energy crap like that.
Or in greenwashing lingo.
A little goes a long way.
So just sit back, relax, and don't worry about what we're doing to your lovely continent.
Just focus on the football.
Yes, so that video is part of a campaign called Kick Polluters Out. That's from the 2024 campaign. And it speaks to what we do as Magamba Network. It's an organization where we look at creating content, fostering communities where we can have young people involved in discourse around critical issues. In terms of the climate action that we've been doing, we have a festival called Shoko Festival, and basically we host discussions and platforms similar to this where we come up with collaborative ideas around how we can shift the spotlight around the climate issue, how it's often forced onto the population, heavily taxed population, and sort of like bring it back to the actual actors that we are victims of. So some of our work includes going into communities with our video production crew, getting the stories from people that are suffering from illicit flow of funds from minerals that are pulled out from mines, illegal mines that the government benefits from, so to speak, and have those conversations recorded and channeled back into our Open Parley platform, which is a youth-run platform, open source, that goes into Parliament and captures the conversations that are happening in Parliament and also gives information in terms of like what the conversations on the ground look like, feel like, sound like. And from there, it's looking at how we can influence change from policymakers, as well as ensuring that the communities that are most affected by, if it's the drillings, the minings, are also represented in the conversations that are happening. So in a nutshell, that's what we do as Magamba Network. Online, offline platforms, utilizing creativity, arts, hip-hop, comedy is central to that because for the most part, the situations are dire and you find that you're in an information influx that can sometimes shut you out from the conversations as well because it's like, it's so jarring. All this information is coming at you. So it's like looking at creative ways to ensure that that conversation happens and it's still interesting and manages to capture the ear of young people.
Thank you. We will. The last video, Kick Polluters Out, I mean, we're all laughing at it, but it's actually happening, and we see a lot of this coming out of America right now, or we can watch that kind of video for real on Musk's platform. But I want to start, and I'm going to ask you, Madam Gandhi, to answer this question first, and then we'll go along. What is inspiring you right now?
Young people are inspiring me. You know, I was recently asked to be the graduation speaker at the Green School in Bali. And, you know, the students were using recycled plastic and recycled silicone and 3D printing menstrual cups. There was another student whose project for her final capstone showed that her entire waste for the entire year could fit in a jar. Just really mind-blowing awareness in smaller communities, you know, and obviously it takes a community to start teaching young people what is possible and to ingrain in the minds and to offset, you know, the bad habits that will take our kids otherwise in a different direction. So it's always the young people that are inspiring me. It's visiting schools, it's seeing enthusiasm and awareness around education. For me, it's always about exposure. I'd like to think that once we know something is possible and can be done differently and be done with awareness, gentle changes of behavior are possible. And I think we as humans, I'd like to think that when we're given the chance to do something with goodness and we can build things that honor the fact that we're so used to convenience, I do think it's possible for us to make changes. I think one thing that I see a lot online is like shame culture, where people are like, ugh, I can't believe this person did this, or making you feel bad when you're not taking care of the planet or walking in your highest alignment. I never think like shaming each other is the opportunity. I think gently educating is always going to be the richer path. Did you know that you could take a water bottle wherever you go and fill it up yourself? Or did you know that the airport at San Francisco has really great water that you can use, and don't buy bottled water? Just empowering people with knowledge in a gentle kind of way has always been the way that I like to be spoken to and the way that I try to offer to others. So these are some of the things that I'm seeing. It's the way that young people are interacting and what's possible at the earliest stages of life.
You said something very pertinent there, which is, I think in the climate movement we can be very judgy, and I think we've got to remember that nothing is perfect. So I think that's a really good point to make. Roshan, what's inspiring you right now?
See, when we first started the festival Echoes, correct, we were not sure what we were going to be doing. With sustainability being quite nascent in my part of the world, it was amazing to see how people actually responded to you. The day one of our festival, we saw no trash, because we were able to actually make people a little conscious. And that kind of thinking then became kind of a case study for us. And almost everything we do around the festival today is through knowledge transfer. And especially with the younger audience, we've been able to get around 800 toddlers to the festival. And
so what ages are toddlers?
Toddlers are 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Yeah, 6 months to 10.
6 months?
Yes.
Right, sorry. Go on.
So we were able to get a lot of kids into our festival. So it became a very safe space for a parent to bring your kid to a music festival. That means they trust you.
Yeah.
And that kind of took the different direction for us. That's when we started focusing on the younger generation. Because we all, as adults, we will go to a festival, we'll still have fun.
Yeah.
And for a mother to carry a 6-month-old baby to a music festival and feel safe, I think that was the breaking point for us. And that's when we realized we were doing something really fantastic. And going forward, as you saw in the pictures, our workshops then became more focused towards the younger generation. And we started giving free entries to younger generations. So that kind of went out of the festival grounds today, and now we're getting into art schools. Echoes of Earth is a curriculum in more than 4 art schools, wherein we go give design directions, we ask them how to use recycle material to create art, as well as our stages are recreated. So it's inspiring to see that whatever movement you set in motion has kind of caught up, and it's like wildfires spreading.
Fantastic. I love that idea of children as young as 6 months feeling safe.
Yes.
And it's about community and the next generation. Tongai.
What inspires me now? Fear. Fear of not taking action, fear of accepting things the way they are. But what's even more inspiring is being exposed to like-minded individuals, because what they do is they fuel the hope, they fuel the positive. Because I think the fear stems from the overabundance of the negative being reflected back into you, and it kind of like builds that hopelessness. But then when you get to interact with like-minded individuals or people that actually hold some solutions to issues that you thought were insurmountable, I think that always like resets and restarts like that energy within you to continue the fight or continue trying to seek better.
Thank you. You kind of touched on it, which is my next question, and Roshan, I'll come to you first. Do you feel challenged by the world right now?
Yes, and especially in India, back home, the growth is exponential, correct? And the biggest challenge we see is just a couple of decades back, the country was not all that great.
Yeah.
And now we have an amazing economic boom. Are we doing it the right way? I'm not sure, because we see challenges in governance. We see challenges in almost everything which we are looking at, including safety and stuff. So while the boom is great, the biggest challenge we see is how do we funnel it down to being safe? How can we funnel it down to be more sustainable? Be more conscious about what's going on. And I think that's the biggest scare I have with the boom which is coming our way.
That's interesting. I didn't think you were going to answer it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tongai?
When it comes to challenges, I think it's trying to live up to certain expectations. So it's looking at the initiatives that you currently have on the ground and the expectations in terms of like sustainability, what the model would look like for, be it an organization or a festival, in the context of Zimbabwe or Africa, where even though you have the resources at a raw level, you're not exposed to the finished material that can fuel that sustainability in a more greener way. So I think there's like a disconnect in that we are championing the green agenda for the West from an African perspective, and not being beneficiaries of it. It's almost like you're on the back burner and almost like seen as being backward in your approach, but not looking at the underlying causes of that disparity that's existing. So I think that's the main challenge, where you are aspiring to be better, do better, lacking the resources that put you in the back burner. So I think that's the main challenge.
Thank you. Yourself, Madam Gandhi?
Yeah, of course I feel challenged by the world right now. I'm American. It's like a complete shit show back home. It's absurd. Why do you think I spend so much time in Europe, like just to keep my mental health on point? I was reading an article the other day from a friend of mine who was like, I moved out of America and I lived in Rome for 6 months, and like my mental health has never been better. Like everyone is suffering over there. And we're gonna be presenting the awards later today, and we were rehearsing it last night, and I was like, none of the people who are winning awards for climate are American. Like, can we just talk about that? We're so behind. I mean, for me, what's the biggest challenge is like social media. You know, I loved the video where you talked about like, keep watching the football. It's all about entertainment. Like America's the best. We stay distracted. I put out a song on Friday. I have a lyric about this. They keeping us dumb. They keeping us numb. I see all of it. And that is by design. So the biggest challenge is to pause social media, to have meaningful, thoughtful conversations with people in the rest of the world who have a strong, true north. Because the mind, the real estate of our mind and our attention is what people are after. And as long as they have our attention getting mad about small things on social media, as long as they have the activists fighting with each other about who's more green and who is more feminist, then they're gonna continue just causing a ruckus. So the biggest challenge is for us to keep our mind right, to keep our mental health sharp, to keep social media to a minimum, to stay loving and aware in your own real communities. And for me as a musician and as an artist, we have to be the ones who are aspiring and creating the world that we wish that we lived in. You know, so much of the visual imagery that I put out in the world is to show things are beautiful and good and rich, and that a return to nature is the real opportunity, a return to family and community is the real opportunity, and keeping the mind healthy. So I'm American, and yeah, I'm challenged. Yeah, I would say so.
Thank you. So I'm going to come to you now, Tongai, and ask you this question and then go along the panel. Does your own culture motivate you to do more, or do you feel challenged to be the activist because of your culture?
That's deep. So in terms of like my own culture motivating me, okay, I'm African.
Yeah.
I have a name and I also have a totem. So similar to the slides you were sharing about the tribe that was hunting down the eagle,
Yeah.
now protecting them. Totems are believed to either preserve a bloodline, so it's sort of like a DNA. If your totem is a monkey, that means you carry the monkey bloodline, elephant, etc. But then you're also supposed to champion the preservation of that particular animal. So that sort of like creates like a balance. So I think the activism, we were active. It didn't need to be active, it was lived, so to speak. And I think the activism was activated when we saw a departure from the norm that was the culture, like from the colonial infiltration and then now speaking in English, like for the most part, not being able to define your existence in your own language almost robs you of its ownership, and you're now reacting to your environment and not necessarily being part of it. So I think it's almost like a duality, but both dualities lead towards that activism.
Coexist. Roshan.
Could you repeat that for me?
Yes, it's a complex question, but I actually asked this question because it also means, something I struggle with. Does your own culture motivate you to do more, or does it challenge you to be the activist that you want to be?
Fantastic. Culturally, in India, you call everything God,
Yeah.
correct? Including nature. And the way I look at it, it is for a reason you call it God. The trees are God, the animals are gods, and we have thousands of gods. So if I were to put that perspective on it, I think it definitely motivates me to keep it up and running. And I think spiritually for me, every element has another perspective of religion and culture all combined, and it's a big hodgepodge. And if you're able to look at your surroundings and call it God, I think we're in good shape.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Kieran?
I'll do the next one. I feel like I answered it earlier. It's okay.
Yeah? Okay. Who said yeah? You. Right, how are we doing for time? Okay, I'm going to ask this last question, then we're going to open it up for the audience. What message of hope, and I'll come to you, Kieran, what message of hope would you like to give the audience?
My message of hope is for us to curate our own reality. And by that, I mean we have to be proactive about what it is that we're watching, the documentaries that we're watching, the information we're consuming, the food that we're consuming, the beautiful vegan lunch that we had today, the kinds of folks who are exposing us to different ways of thinking. I think the opportunity for hope is that now, because we're being inundated with news and with Netflix and with whatever on our minds, we get distracted and it removes us from our rich human potential to actually do what is right. And so I think the opportunity for hope that I've been practicing quite strictly is that protecting the boundaries, protecting the quality of your human mind, of your heart, of your family, of your awareness, of how you feel when you sit and experience what nature makes you feel. This is what we have to be optimizing for. So let's all go on a retreat this weekend and meditate in the mountains and drink pure water and remember what it is that we're all here to do.
To be human. Roshan?
Hope for me is you do something and the world reciprocates to you. And what we've been able to do with the festival in large is when we first put out that first post saying that we're building a sustainable festival, and these are the 20, 30 things which we're going to make sure would be our focus areas, correct? Very next year, we saw these 10 commandments, I would call them, were cut-pasted across Indian oil festivals.
Wow.
That kind of gave us the hope that if you are able to start a movement, and of course the media helped us a lot to push this agenda out. And today I can see all the festivals have been called out if we don't actually do the basics of keeping it hygienic or waste management or recycling. And that kind of is a fantastic example of hope.
Thank you. And lastly?
I'd say, coming from learning on the go, what I'm hopeful for is, or the hope I'd like to share is, allowing the action to bring about the clarity. I think for the most part, we kind of wait for things to sort of like make sense for us to act on things. But sometimes you just might need to act on things and then you realize that clarity just by the involvement and interaction of being exposed to that thing. In this case, I consider myself a novice when it comes to climate action. Our organization is doing great work, but we feel like we're in the very formative stages of it, and there's so much more to do, and there's so much inspiration that we've been exposed to in doing that. And yeah, I think that's the most hopeful thing that I live by and that I can impart, is that sometimes you just have to go and hopefully go together. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to just open it up for any questions. Would anyone like to ask a question? You're all been mesmerized. While you're all just thinking, I have a question. Oh, where? Yeah, go. Hi, Claire. Yes.
So it's to any of the panelists, and it's about what you would, if you could change one thing or ask for one thing of the live sector, which you're all involved in different ways, beyond your own kind of sphere of control, I suppose, what would you like to change most?
Roshan?
Thinking about it.
You're thinking about it.
Yeah, I performed at Envision Festival in Costa Rica a few years ago, and I was really impressed with sort of the attempt at creating a closed loop. So all of the cutlery and the bowls were like constantly being reused and washed. You had to go and get a ticket to then get your bowl, to then go to the snack and like food and beverage area of the whole festival. You couldn't, there was no like single-use plastics. Everything was reusable. There was a lot of thought. You had to bring your own water bottle to the festival. I mean, these kinds of things, like given like the Coachellas of the world where it's just like a trash city, I mean, there's just so much that we can learn from each other. So I think when festivals like yours, take this brave stance to show what is possible, and it feels delicious and good and wonderful and wholesome and deep, and you're not, maybe you are on drugs, maybe they are on drugs, but maybe they're also just like super present because their 6-month-old baby is there. What is possible is so exciting, and I think we all have to dream big and show each other what is possible so that we realign to what our true north is. So I think the end-to-end sustainability of the live sector, the festivals that are thoughtful and wholesome, those are my favorite festivals to be a part of.
Thank you. I love the word delicious. Yeah, that's a really good word. Anyone else got a question? Gentleman over here in the green.
So open to the whole panel. How important do you think role models and key individuals are in affecting younger audiences and aspiring change makers to stay on track amidst the barrage of information and polluted media sources?
Ooh, who would like to answer that?
The question about the role of role models. How important is it to have individuals who are leaders to impact young people? Is that right?
Yeah.
It's like with changing media sources. With media sources being changed and polluted by political figures, the influence of role models in that.
Roshan, do you have any role models that come to the fest? Any big stars that then become role models for the audience?
I think it's been happening across the board, right? You always have someone who takes the torch and says, this is what needs to be done. Role models have always, especially in sustainability, I think we have seen some big superstars who have actually come and given us some kind of a push by being present there, and they've kind of endorsed us to a large effect. That has really helped us to grow our festival at this point in time. That's as much as support from someone senior or someone who's relevant in the industry can really help you push your agendas.
Thank you. I just want to quickly say, when we were having lunch, Roshan told me of, because we've all been reading about Coldplay and a lot of the big sort of acts going to India.
Yes.
And do you want to just quickly tell everyone, just before we finish,
Yeah.
about that amazing event with the kicker, with the punchline?
So I think Coldplay did his largest gathering in the world in India last week. He had around 140,000 people who attended the festival. And
What's a lakh? So
lakh is 140,000.
140,000.
In one stadium. And surprisingly, the way he did it was a dry state. So in spite of, there was no liquor.
No alcohol.
No alcohol. It was a sold out show. And I think that just shows the scale of the power of numbers. And India currently is in a very big, in a great position. We're having sold out shows across, and almost all the big artists now in the next months to come are going to show up.
So on that note, on a dry note, well, this panel hasn't been dry, let me tell you. It's been such a fantastic conversation. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your wisdom. And thank you everyone for being here this afternoon.
Cheers.
Thank you.